think back, Alicia, to when I was in the Senate and Donald Trump first took office. And I remember John McCain telling me, as a fellow member of the Armed Services Committee, that he had explained or tried to explain to Trump that Putin was, in fact, BS, that Putin was a despot and a thug and someone that was antithetical to everything our country stood for. But Trump was enamored with the strong man, and Putin played him, like a violin. And I would have loved to hear the conversation that occurred a few days ago, because I have a feeling that maybe for the very first time, Putin let the mask slip and showed Trump who he really is. And Trump is reacting to that. The irony here is Trump is not doing this because it's the right thing to do. He's doing it because he feels insulted by Putin. And that is not foreign policy. That is an egotist who is busy trying to mold the world to lift himself up rather than protect his country and other people who believe in freedom.
Yeah, I'll add to Claire's point. I think Trump is doing this because he feels insulted. And frankly, he doesn't like when people whom he cares about their opinion liking him are displeased with him. And last week, when the Pentagon decided to freeze the weapon shipments to Ukraine, a lot of European leaders, Tom, were not pleased with that. I'm sure Donald Trump heard a lot of pushback. And so I think it's that 1-2 combo of Trump being played yet again by Putin, in my estimation, similarly to how Netanyahu is also playing him a bit, understanding what buttons to push and what to say to massage his ego. But also, it's this, the European leaders are kind of mad. I didn't make this decision anyway. He was asked at the White House today, who made the decision, and he was like, on the weapons, and he said, I don't know who made it. And so he didn't feel very invested in it. I caution people to read too much out there, too much into it, as though he's not all in for Ukraine now. He's still all in for himself. That's what his foreign policy is tied to.
Right. Claire's point, I think, is spot on, that he may be doing this or saying he's doing it because, personally, I'm not going to believe this until I see the weapons go and arrive there. But the quickest way to get him to do something like this is to make him feel humiliated. He loves to think of himself as Putin's peer, his pal. I don't know, it'd be interesting to be a fly on the wall during their last conversation where the president came out and said, I didn't get through to him, we didn't get anywhere at all. I mean, Putin may have told him off for all we know. And then he says things like, well, I'm going to send more weapons to Ukraine. The problem with the halting of the weapons shipment is, as you say, the president of the United States. This is key to our foreign policy, whether we're actually supporting Ukraine and sending weapons. And the weapons are halted, and the president, the commander in chief, the chief executive says, "I don't know anything about it. I don't know who did that." And apparently it was Hegseth, but apparently it was Hegseth being encouraged to do that by one of his undersecretaries. Which leads to the question I asked the other day: who's running defense policy right now?
The name of that Undersecretary Pentagon Policy Chief Elbridge Colby, of course, his boss is Pete Hegseth. Michael, if your boss comes out and gives you that type of no confidence vote, what's the message?
I think what you'll see is folks double down on kissing the ring. I think they go back and they figure out where they went wrong with Trump, where they overstepped or didn't do what he thought they should do. And the other side of it, I don't know how much I want to make of any of those interactions with Trump, because I think at the end of the day, the politics that's driving this is he's at the center. All things flow into him. Everything flows out from him. And so everybody's going to get pushed around that table just a little bit. But outside of the ring is where it gets interesting. Outside the walls of the White House and the West Wing, folks on the ground and on the street are getting a different vibe from all of this. So, Claire, I want to get your thoughts on what Playbook is talking about right now, is this sort of rift between MAGA and Trump noting in MAGA world, anger over last night's U-turn is already starting to flow. Trump's repeated pledges to end America's involvement in overseas wars were a big part of his appeal to the MAGA base. And so his decision to start rearming Ukraine is not landing well. You can expect MAGA anger to swell. My view of it, Claire, is, so what? What you gonna do? You gonna walk away from Trump, or you just gonna do like most MAGA folks do and just, cry some crocodile tears, but then at the critical moment, stay attached to his hip? So how much should we be making about storylines like this?
Here's the thing, Michael. I agree with you that the 25 to 30% of the country that strongly approve of Donald Trump are going to see what they want to see, and they're going to ignore the ugly. But what's happening here is in the media ecosystem of the MAGA world, you are seeing some real splintering. You're seeing people like Joe Rogan calling him out for an insane policy where the majority of people who are being whisked off the streets are trying to do the right thing. They're working hard. These are folks that are in this country that don't have legal status. And you see people like not just Tucker Carlson and not just Alex Jones, but a whole host of these folks that have a lot of ears in MAGA world. They have a lot of people that listen to them every day. And they were marching lockstep at the beginning of this administration. They're not anymore. Whether it's the tariffs, whether it's the Medicaid cuts, whether it's a chaotic foreign policy, or whether or not the world is lighting up. And, Tom is right about who's in charge. I'd like to know who's making the calls on the Houthis. We spent billions trying to supposedly clean up an area for shipping going against the Houthis, and all we've done is strengthen them. They didn't get anything done with that. And there's not been near enough talk about that foreign policy failure. So on every front, from alienating our friends to not getting peace in Ukraine, to not getting peace in Gaza and Israel. This is not a president who has brought calm to the world. He's just brought frickin' chaos to the world.
But the chaos is the feature, not the bug. Am I right, y'all?
Yes.
But just real quick, Simone, didn't voters vote for this, though?
Well, Donald Trump wasn't necessarily a beacon of stability the last time he was president. He talked about no more foreign interventions, and he claimed on the campaign trail that he would end all the wars on day one. He has gotten us involved in more conflicts since he's been president this time. And his me policy, if you will, has resulted in more chaos.